Now, Wall Street seems to be excited about Prop 22 as well, with Uber and Lyft stocks soaring shortly after it passed. Joining me now from Dallas, Texas, financial expert and co-founder and chief strategist of GDP Advisors, Seth Denson. Seth, do you take Uber rides and Lyft often?
Well, I used to when I was able to travel, but these days not as many maybe as I have in the past. But yeah, I'm a regular user of these folks.
Yeah, and I saw in California, basically, if this didn't pass, Uber and Lyft would have effectively been shut down here. Like it's already been hard to find rides around here as it is because of coronavirus. But also, if this didn't pass, it would have probably been devastating for a lot of the people who, especially just do Lyft and Uber, the drivers just as like a part-time or a side job.
Yeah, this is a classic scenario of the government wanting to tell you exactly what you had to do. And this is, a disconnect between Silicon Valley and the people that are actually in the cars. The drivers didn't want this. Uber and Lyft didn't want this, but the government in California did because, of course, they know how to run businesses better and how to tell people how to run their jobs and lives better. Listen, people become drivers as gig workers. They want the flexibility to control their destiny, to manage their time effectively. And here again is California stepping in saying, no, we know better for you than you do. We're going to make a rule. So I was glad to see that this thing passed.
Yeah. Now over in Florida, they approved the $15 minimum wage. And so they're just joining many of the other states that have already gone that direction. But do you think this is a good move, especially right now in the middle of a pandemic?
Well, listen, I've long stated that I think minimum wage should be left up to the states, not the federal government, because every market's different, right? Florida's different than Texas, different than New York, than California, and we need to make sure that we're allowing states to make the right decisions. I'm concerned about what this could do to the job market in Florida, and was this a decision that was best for Florida, or was this a decision where we have many outsiders moving into these states who have good economies and are trying to bring a more liberal approach to managing the government? That we'll wait and see, but I don't know. Yet to be determined.
Yeah. And again, $15 doesn't sound like much, but again, I think business owners and everyone else should have the right to decide how much they can pay their workers. And again, you hear people say, oh, well, they're going to raise the minimum wage. Now I'm going to have to fire some of my full-time employees or some of my part-timers to make up for that loss.
This is true. I mean, we can look at the state of Washington, for example, when they inflated theirs. It changed their employment market drastically, especially in those areas where maybe you have college kids trying to work or people that are trying to pick up part-time work. Again, if the employer feels that they're going to have to spend more than they can generate in revenue, they're just not going to offer those jobs.
Yeah, it's Thursday and we still don't know who the next president of the United States will be. And some are wondering how this is affecting the market. Some are saying a contested election could affect the stock market. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think long term it certainly could, and we'll certainly see what happens as we go forward. Here's the reality, and I think a lot of people look at the market in this bubble of think of it like a bowl of spaghetti, right, where everything is pasta. It's not. I like to refer to it as a bowl of good old southern Louisiana gumbo. There's a lot of different ingredients in there. And so there's parts of the market that are looking at a potential of a Joe Biden and say, okay, that could be good for us. Maybe we need cheaper parts from China or tech companies that do business overseas and want the tariffs to go away. But then there's other parts that say, no, there's been great things under the Trump administration from a deregulation perspective. Here's what Wall Street likes: stability. What did they get? So long as Republicans hold the Senate, they get stability because we're not going to see a radical swing of the pendulum left or right. That's what the market in general wants to see.
Yeah, you keep seeing these article headlines over and over again. Again, you don't believe everything that you see, but yeah, everyone, CNN, for example, they say big business and Wall Street aren't afraid of Joe Biden. And we have over here another one says Wall Street drops Donald Trump in favor of Joe Biden, which is interesting because I think in the long term, wouldn't it affect Wall Street?
Well, it certainly would. And again, I think if you're painting with a broad brush, you can't go one way or the other on that. I think in general, the markets and the American economy specifically has really done well and appreciated what Donald Trump has brought to the table. And certainly, I don't think the markets are terrified of Joe Biden. They are terrified of Kamala Harris and AOC and the radical left. And I think that what's holding it together right now is this idea that at least Republicans will hold the Senate and we may not see radical shift.
Yeah, they're not the only ones afraid of AOC and the radical left, that's for sure. Well, thank you for your insight. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Steph.